I want you to just picture a battlefield for a second. And if you're driving, obviously, don't close your eyes.
Right.
But imagine it. The whole thing, smoke, chaos, mud. You can't see what's over the next hill. And you're standing right in the middle of it.
Okay.
But here's the twist. You're not holding a rifle. You're holding a quarterly earnings report. And the soldiers charging at you, well, they're your competitors, they're regulators, they're shifting consumer trends.
That's a pretty terrifying image. But according to the text we're looking at today, it's probably the most accurate one for running a business right now.
Exactly. We are doing a deep dive today into a book that completely reframes how we should think about business data. It's called Marketing Intelligence, or Istikbarat Taswikia in the original Arabic, by Dr. Mohsen Ahmed Al-Qaderi.
And this is not your standard polite textbook.
Not at all. This book, it wakes up and chooses violence.
It really does. Dr. Al-Qaderi doesn't see the market as this friendly place where we all trade goods. He sees it as a hostile environment. And he frames the whole idea of data collection not as market research.
Which sounds so passive, so academic.
So passive, right. He calls it intelligence. He is deliberately borrowing the language of, the military and national security.
And it just sets such a different tone from the start. Market research makes me think of someone with a clipboard at the mall. But marketing intelligence, that makes me think of situation rooms and high-stakes survival.
And that's really the mission for this deep dive, isn't it? We want to help you stop looking at your data as just boring numbers in a spreadsheet and start seeing it for what it is, a survival tool.
Survival is absolutely the key word.
Okay.
The author talks about the global business environment as a series of, what is the phrase he used?
Violent storms.
Violent storms. I love that.
It's so evocative. He basically argues that you're dealing with these economic, political, and social waves that are just constantly crashing over the decision maker. It's chaos.
And in that chaos, you can't just rely on a gut feeling.
No, you can't rely on luck. You can't rely on randomness. If you're steering the ship based on a whim, you're going to capsize. It's that simple.
So to get through the storm, we need intelligence. But the book makes this really crucial distinction between data, knowledge, and intelligence. I feel like most of us use those words, interchangeably.
We do, but they're very different. Think of it like a pyramid. Data is the raw stuff at the bottom, the noise, just facts and figures in a spreadsheet.
Right. On its own, it means nothing.
Nothing. Knowledge is when you organize that data. But intelligence, that's processed knowledge, and it's specifically designed to help you act. It's the bridge from knowing something to actually doing something.
So data is, it's raining. Intelligence is, it's raining, the river's about to flood, and if we don't move the warehouse in 2 hours, we lose everything.
Precisely. It's all about reducing uncertainty so you can make a rational choice. Which brings us to one of the most surprising parts of the book for me.
I think I know what you're going to say.
When we talk about intelligence, most of us immediately think of, spying on the competition.
Right, the offensive side. Seeing what they're up to.
And that's a huge part of it. The book covers gathering data on competitors, consumers, government rules, all to predict the future and outmaneuver them. But there's this whole other side.
The defensive side.
Yes. And he explicitly uses the term counter-espionage.
I have to say, seeing counter-espionage in a business textbook it stopped me in my tracks. It feels like something out of a spy novel.
But it's completely logical. I mean, if you accept the premise that you should be gathering intelligence on your competitors,
then you have to assume they're doing the exact same thing to you.
Exactly. And that's a pretty sobering thought. Dr. Al-Qaderi argues it's not enough to just go out and learn about the market. You have to actively protect your own internal secrets.
Your customer lists, your product pipeline.
All of it. You have to prevent your competitors from infiltrating your organization. If you have a trade secret and it leaks, that's a massive strategic blow. It could be fatal.
It all ties back to that idea he mentions of capital accumulation.
It does. Every business wants to be a going concern, right? To stay in business forever. To do that, you need to grow your capital. But if you're blind to threats or you're leaking your own secrets, your capital just erodes. You stop being a going concern and, well, you become another casualty of the storm.
So we've set the stage. The market's a battlefield. We need spies. Which brings us to the next big question. Who are these spies? The book spends a lot of time profiling the marketing researcher.
And this is not a job description for the faint of heart.
No, it is not. I was expecting a list of technical skills like must-know statistics, this kind of thing.
Sure.
But the book focuses way more on personality traits. It's like profiling a field agent, not a data analyst.
It really is. One of the very first traits he lists is patience and endurance.
Which, to be honest, sounds kind of boring.
It sounds boring, but it's so realistic. The author says gathering data is tedious. He even uses the word suffering. You might have to read 1,000 pages of a government report for one useful sentence. A person who gets bored easily just can't do this job.
And then there's the one I found the most counterintuitive.
Let me guess. The ability to guess.
Yes. We're always told in business not to guess. We want hard facts, certainty. So why on earth is guessing a key skill for an intelligence officer?
Because you never have all the facts. You just don't. If you wait for 100% certainty, the moment has already passed. He's talking about inference. It's a high-level skill where the researcher can look at an incomplete picture. Maybe they have 60% of the puzzle.
And they can logically guess what the other 40% looks like.
Exactly. It's not a wild guess. It's connecting the dots. It's reading between the lines.
Okay, that makes more sense. But that intuition has to be balanced with a heavy dose of, what does he call it, skepticism.
Oh, absolutely non-negotiable. The book is very clear that sources might lie. They exaggerate. They hide things. Even your own customers might not tell you the real reason they bought something.
So the researcher needs a built-in lie detector.
They do. They have to test everything before they pass it up the chain of command. If they're gullible, they're actually dangerous. They'll feed bad intelligence to the people making the big decisions.
And you can't really learn that from a textbook.
No. The book is very clear on this. It stresses role-playing, simulation, and real field practice. The organization has to, care for these researchers until their personality and the job become one. You're basically training an elite operative.
Okay, so we have our elite operative. Patient, skeptical, a good guesser. Now let's get into their toolkit. The book lays out 5 specific types of marketing intelligence.
And these are like different lenses, you switch them out depending on the problem you're trying to solve.
The first one is called exploratory intelligence.
Think of this as the scouting mission. You use this when you're facing something you don't understand. A fog bank up ahead. Its goal is just to identify the initial variables.
So you're not looking for a specific answer just yet.
No, you're looking for the right question to ask. It's a routine scan of the horizon, just trying to spot threats early on.
Okay, so the scout spots something, a dip in sales, a weird new competitor. Then we move to number 2, deep or comprehensive intelligence.
Right. Now we put away the binoculars and we take out the microscope. This is the forensic audit. You've identified one specific phenomenon, and now you need to know everything about it. Its history, its hidden causes, its possible futures.
And this is where that classic SWOT analysis comes in, right?
Yes, but applied very narrowly to that one problem. You're just drilling down and down until you hit bedrock.
Got it. Now, number 3 is where it gets fun, I think. Experimental intelligence.
The science lab.
The science lab of the business world, yeah.
It's a perfect analogy. This is where you stop just observing and you start, poking the system. You introduce a new variable into a small, controlled environment just to see what happens.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Let's say you want to raise your prices, but you're scared of losing all your customers. Instead of a full rollout, you use experimental intelligence.
Huh.
You raise the price in just one city for 1 week.
You're testing the waters, you're measuring the reaction.
Exactly. Lets you fail small so you can succeed big. You get hard data before you commit everything.
Incredibly valuable. Okay, number 4 is case study intelligence. How is that different from the deep intelligence we just talked about?
It's a subtle difference. Deep intelligence is usually about a current, ongoing problem. A case study is more like an autopsy. It's about a specific event.
So, if a competitor suddenly goes bankrupt.
Yes, exactly. You do a case study to find out why. What were the specific decisions that led to their collapse? You're analyzing a single anomaly to learn lessons for your own future.
Which brings us to the last one, number 5, comparative intelligence.
This one is so powerful. It's basically spot the difference. You compare 2 things to figure out what variable actually matters.
Like comparing sales in New York versus sales in California.
Precisely. If one region is succeeding and one is failing, you put them side by side. Is it the management, the demographics, the weather? By comparing them, the difference is just they light up.
Yeah.
You can isolate what's causing success and what's causing failure.
It's so logical when you lay it all out. But I want to zoom out a bit. We've talked about the spy and the tactics. Who are we actually spying on?
Right. The text makes it very clear that it is way, way broader than just the customer.
If you're only watching the customer, you're missing half the battlefield.
Oh, absolutely. The book lists this huge web of targets. Competitors, obviously, both current and potential, but also suppliers and distributors.
By them.
Because they're your lifeline.
Mm.
Is your main supplier financially stable? Are they secretly making deals with your rival? You have to know that.
And he also lists the government as a major target.
Government policies are massive. And this is where that guessing ability comes back in a big way. It's not enough to know the laws today.
You have to predict the laws of tomorrow.
You have to try. If you can predict a new tax change 6 months before it happens, you can adapt. By the time it's law, you're ready, and your competitors are just scrambling. That's a huge advantage.
There's one other dimension the book really hammers home, and that's time. So many companies seem stuck looking at the last year's sales, last quarter's report.
But that's just history.
Right. Dr. Al-Qadari seems obsessed with the future.
That is the core value of the whole book. Intelligence about the past is history. Intelligence about the present is just operations. But true marketing intelligence is about predicting the future.
He lists these questions the researcher has to answer, like, who is the customer of the future, and what will their income be?
That income part is so important. It's not just what will they like, it's can they afford us. In a stormy economy, purchasing power changes. If you develop a product for a customer who won't have the money to buy it in 2 years, you've just wasted everything.
It's about seeing the technological wave coming, too. Will a new invention make your whole business obsolete?
If you aren't gathering intelligence on that, you are a sitting duck.
So when we pull all this together, the battlefield, the counter-espionage, the 5 methods, the focus on the future, what's the big takeaway?
I think the main idea is that marketing intelligence is the rational alternative to the random way of doing business. It's about putting a safeguard between your organization and the chaos of the world.
The difference between strategy and just gambling.
It is. But knowledge is only useful if it gets to the decision maker in a way they can act on it. The researcher is that bridge. They take the noise of the storm, they filter it, and they try to present a clear path forward.
Without that, the person in charge is just guessing. And as we've established, in a violent storm, guessing gets you killed. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought that really stuck with me from that counter-espionage section. It's a little paranoid, but after reading this book, I think a little paranoia is healthy.
I'm listening.
If we accept the premise of this book, that business is warfare, that you need to be out there actively gathering intelligence on everyone else,
Then the logical conclusion is,
who is currently gathering intelligence on you?
that is the question, isn't it?
Right now, as you're listening to this, is there a researcher from a rival analyzing your pricing, interviewing your ex-employees, testing your weak spots, and the really scary part, do you even have the systems in place to know that it's happening?
It definitely makes you want to go double-check your firewalls and your NDAs.
It sure does. So
Yeah.
keep your eyes on the horizon, watch out for the storms, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.
Take care.